Many times we don't have to reinvent the wheel because the wheel is not already there. The success is already shown. We can actually, look into a successful person and observe what are they doing and try to do similar things that the person is doing.
Hi, and welcome to the show. Today with me is my lovely guest joining me all the way from Malaysia, Shalini Subramaniam. She is a personal branding coach and consultant, and she has so much value to share. I have personally been watching her lives and I've been watching her videos, and I'm like, okay, need to make notes on this. So, Shalini, welcome, and thank you so much for being so generous with your time today and for being here and making the time. I know you have a little one as well. So, welcome to the show, and I look forward to our conversation.
Savitra, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your show. I mean, I've been watching some of your shows. You're doing some amazing job. You're trying to make an impact by bringing in women who are creating impacts to actually share their stories. I'm sure it's going to inspire many people, especially women who are looking into coming out from their, just working at home, trying to achieve something on their own. I'm sure all the stories that you're sharing is going to influence one or two people and make them create impact at the same time. So I'm so glad to be part of your show, and I'm really looking forward for it.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words as well. I hope it does, fingers crossed, just does cause impact on someone's life. But I'm being impacted every single day by amazing women like you. So I want to really hear about your work because I think you had an interesting journey. So let's start with your journey, the work you do, and what brought you to coaching from the corporate world.
Okay, so if you asked me 3 years ago what is coaching, I don't really know what is it. I would say what am I doing today is more of a calling because I never in my life imagined that I'll be doing training or coaching. I mean, I always wanted to do business. That's what I always tell people when people ask me when I was young, what you want to do? I would say I want to become a businesswoman. It's just that I was too young. I don't really know what businesswoman I wanted to become. What brought me to this journey up to where am I today is it just came along the way. I'm someone who always explore into what my true passion is. And I've been doing it for many years now. I would say even since when I was in university, I keep asking my friends, what do you think I'm good at? What do you think I should be doing?
Okay.
But over a period of time, I guess I just figured that it's me who have to explore what truly I want to do, and that's when I went in and do different things. When I was in corporate, when I moved from Malaysia to Singapore, when I had the freedom, I was on my own. I thought, okay, this is my chance that I need to explore as many things as possible, and that's when I get into different stuffs. And I, at the same time, started few side hustle at the same time. So I was into beauty, I was into fashion. I did some e-commerce platforms as well. I developed app as well. So a lot of things I did while in the site. And after I returned back to Malaysia, and I really wanted to do something else. I really got bored with my corporate. And it's not that I want to become an entrepreneur, so I have to leave my job. I know that it's just a fancy word that everyone start using becoming an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, because becoming an entrepreneur truly it's a very difficult thing to do. And during that point of time, I was more like, I just want to do something else. It could just be in corporate, just try some other companies and all that. So I went into a different, I totally went to government organization. So I moved from a corporate to a government organization, just to try different experience and and do more to community, because in the government position I was more on the community based work.
Okay.
And I did learn a lot from there, but I was asked to leave after some time because of some changes that happened in the government organization and all that. And I was like, okay, why I'm looking for a different job, why not I just try things that I always want to do as a full-time entrepreneur. So that's when I get into blogging, writing, and meeting people and just figuring out what other things that I can do. So that's when I came up with my own product. So I have a planner and journal that I I think I launched that 3 years ago, and I started with that. And while I was doing that, I learned about marketing, and it was so fascinating. I was like, why I never learned about marketing before? Why I never actually knew that such thing exists. That was 3 years ago, and I was like, I felt like I was inside a bubble while I was in this corporate world, that I didn't go out there and figure out what else I could do. And when I came out and I had the freedom to really explore other things, that's when I figured that there are so many other ways to actually make money and do things that I wanted to do. And even though I got a job at that period of time, I was asked to come back to corporate by my previous company, and they give me increment 20-30%. But I said no. I didn't know why at that time. I was like, I think I will just do this. I just want to give myself a year. That's what I told myself. To my family members, they were very disappointed and worried that why did I say no to such a good opportunity? And I wasn't really making money in my business at that time, at that point of time as well. But I just told them that give myself 1 year. I want to give myself 1 year. And that period of time, I still got pregnant. I was like, okay, if it is not now, then it's never. I'll just do it now and give myself a year. And I just want to see where it's going to take me. And that's when I get into training and coaching. And just along the way, things change and fold into who am I becoming today.
My gosh. I resonate with your story strangely because I started out in the corporate world. That was my dream. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. It just never occurred to me till I decided at the end of 17 years that, okay, I don't even know what my purpose is. So I feel like so many parts of your story really, because I started also blogging. I was always interested in fashion and style. So yeah, your story resonates with me so much. And so you started this, you had your baby, and then, today you are doing the work that you're doing. But what made you narrow down into, the personal branding space? What calls you to personal branding?
So when I started more into the digital marketing itself. So helping small businesses, to build their business through social media, through Google and all that. But along the way, I wanted to become a business coach because I had an experience on starting side hustle, and I know many people, especially women, they want to start a business on their own, and I know that I can help them because I have the experience and I had the knowledge for 5 years starting my own side hustle, and I know that with the knowledge and experience that I have, I can help women to get started in their own side hustle. But you know I just figured that even though I had a good number of followings, I have people around me who know me, but I couldn't really sell my programs or my services to people. There are people inquiring, but they were not really interested to buy from you, or they just back off after knowing the price and all that. And at that period of time, I was very disappointed. So I already gave birth to my baby, and I really need to take this, a level higher. I cannot be just staying stagnant. And that period of time, like, I need to hire a coach. So I hired a coach. She was my first coach. Her name is Ruby Lee. She's back in Australia.
Yes.
And, and I went in with her for like 6 months. And, the first one, first month, when I told her all my stories, and then she was like, Shalini, you need to build your brand. Like, people don't know who you are now. Maybe you have some people who could be knowing who you are, but they are yet to trust, they yet to have the trust in you for them to buy from you. It's not that you don't have enough experience or enough knowledge, it's just you don't share enough, and people, you're not really promoting yourself. People don't know what you're doing, and they don't see the achievement behind it. Because at that point of time, I am a person who's very shy in sharing things on social media. I don't really share anything on social media. I like to keep things on my own. I find that, I don't know, it's just me. I'm an introvert, so I usually things that I share is basically on food, maybe, or more on fashion, beauty, and all that. Yeah. So sharing my success or sharing things, a little wins here and there makes me very uncomfortable. Like, I know people have done so much more in their life. What am I sharing this? Not going to make any difference, or what am I going to be proud of, right? But she convinced me that every little thing that you do and you share, it will influence some people who are watching. It will take some time for people to recognize you, and that builds up over a period of time. That's why branding takes time. So I just I don't know what she was saying. I thought, like, okay, never mind. We'll just do, what is needed at that point of time. I was really desperate. I need to get things done, get things out there. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start my journey on LinkedIn. I'm going to do this, right? So when I went in on LinkedIn and I started my 3 months journey in that, so a 90 days video challenge. So I was posting videos every single day.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was trying to do, but I know that I'm trying to put my words out there, trying to people to recognize me, and over a period of time, when I learned that people start coming to me in two ways. People start coming to me. In one is because they find it inspiring, my poses. In some ways, some people reach out to me and say that your poses are inspiring. Secondly, when people come to me and ask me, how can I help them? In what way I can help them. And that was a game changer for me because it never happened. And I was like, okay, this is something new and there's something different that I've done this period or this time. And compared to last time, that's why now people are reaching out to me and asking about me. When I'm not even promoting my services out there. And that point of time, I realized that digital marketing is important, but marketing is different than branding, and I need to bring the branding words out there and make more people who have been struggling similarly like me. They've been
Yeah.
doing marketing, but they just don't know why is it not reaching out to people. They need to learn that after marketing, that's where the branding comes in. It's so important to keep the connection with your audience because that's what builds the trust, and that's where branding and storytelling plays a very big role in what am I doing now.
Yeah.
So that's how I eventually narrowed down to personal branding.
Personal branding. Okay, awesome. Again, I'm feeling like all of these stories that you're sharing, just me, right? I mean, yeah, too hard to share your wins, don't want to show up and say, like, what am I doing? But I'm going to make a note, of course, on the 90 days of content sharing. Russell Brunson said this. He said in the beginning, just create content every single day. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, you are an example of having done that right. So, my next question is actually on what is the gap today in how women are showing up online? And I think it's exactly the same thing that you and me are. I'm resonating with you in what you're sharing. Is there any other gap that you see, or is it just this that I'm afraid to show up? I don't know how to share my wins.
So being afraid to show up, because you might think that others might judge you, or afraid that you're not good enough. All those things happens both for men and also women, right? But I guess for women, what's holding them back is their thought of like um, how their reputation is going to influence their families.
Yeah.
As an Asian woman, we have to consider so many other things around us, our family, our friends. What are people going to say in terms of how is it going to influence our family members, and that itself is going to hold a lot of women from standing up for themselves, even though it's just them sharing about themselves, day-to-day things and all that, but afraid that people judging them will influence their family's reputation is holding many women out there. I guess that is fading off now, but it's still there in a lot of Asian countries.
No, I agree. I think it's still there. And a lot of people, maybe like some of us who've done the work, maybe, okay, but it's still, you hit the nail on the head. So my next one would be, okay, now I've got the courage. I've decided to show up. What are some tips, especially if I want to play out large on LinkedIn? What are some starter tips that you can share for someone who's watching this on how to build a brand on LinkedIn?
Okay, so first of all, when you decide to go all in on LinkedIn, you have to put this in your mind that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to come and criticize you, and that shouldn't hold you up when you have got started, because a lot of people they start and one thing that keeps them away is because, okay, someone is criticizing me, now I have to step back and just watch my words. Second is that they have to stop thinking that they're going to get the results overnight. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to take some time. For some people, might take 6 months. Some people 1 year. It differs based on your niche, based on how much effort that you're putting out there. So these two things shouldn't stop you while you are in this journey.
Right.
So when you are getting started, firstly, my advice is to observe the people in your niche. Those influencers, those impactor on your niche. What are they actually doing? It is many times we don't have to reinvent the wheel because the wheel is not already there. The success is already shown. We can actually look into a successful person and observe what are they doing and try to do similar things that the person is doing.
Okay.
So maybe you can pick a role model on LinkedIn within your niche, or someone that you find it very inspiring. Follow them and look at their past work, where they started, because everyone started from zero. So look at their past poses, scroll down, up to where they got started, and really see what kind of changes that happened to them. I mean, that's what I did in the beginning. I picked 2 or 3 person, and they might have been on, building their brand for almost 1 2 years. But what I did was I really scrolled down to where they were before and see how their journey started and how they became who they are today. And you will be very surprised that at first they were no one, but 1 or 2 posts have become so viral and have changed their fate in some ways, right? So looking at what others have done and how you can how to say, create a similar success for yourself,
Yeah.
is what I will ask you to do in the beginning itself. That means knowing the plan. Where are you going? Rather than just thinking of doing it, dreaming of doing it, it's important to have the plan and also take the action at the same time.
Absolutely. Okay, so great tips. And I know that my next question was going to be what was the game changer for you in building your brand? And you shared that, you started doing this challenge. Is there anything you want to add to that? Like, what was like the one thing that changed the whole game for you?
Okay, so I would say two things that really motivate me to keep going. So a lot of people say, "How would you stay consistent?" Right?
Yeah.
On any social media platforms. One is, of course, your determination. It's something that you put as important for you to. It's a to do things. This comes as the first thing that you have to do each and every day, because it's priority for you to get it done. It's part of a deal for you. Another thing is because when people start messaging you and saying that, this is very inspiring, keep sharing, saying that my podcast changed, their mindset in some ways, because, they have gone through the similar thing that I went through. And now that I'm 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of them, they're so happy to see that, because, they see themselves in the same position as me. And that, of course, keeps me going, celebrating the small wins. And at the same time, when I get fully booked, when people come and inquire about my group program, when they want to participate, when they want to learn how to create content, all those kind of things are really a game changer in my business, because I could see how powerful is it when you consistently build a brand for yourself. Because a lot of people don't understand. For them, it's more branding means it's about self promotion, talking about all the huge success things that you have done, but it's also about a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges that you're going through. And I do share a lot of challenges along the way. I never said that my first program was so successful, but I have always shared that what was the struggle and how eventually I get things changed along the way in few months along the road, right? So those kind of things really keep me going a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to touch upon something that you shared a little earlier, right? So when people start, they're afraid of being judged because somebody will criticize you. Have you faced online criticism here on LinkedIn? And how did you handle it? And how do you handle it?
Yeah, of course. When I first started, especially, people judge you that I'm trying to portray myself as an expert or what. That was not what I was trying to do. I was more on challenging my journey itself. And sometimes when you put something out there in terms of your own point of view or your thoughts, people will try to have their own point of view and try to judge you at the same time. So it comes back to the first thing that I say. You have to, realize that if you put yourself online, people are going to judge you no matter what. It could be positive and negative, right? So there are hundred of positive comments, one or two negative comments would influence us the whole day, which is, it's a human thing. We usually get into the negative thoughts so easily, but that's what I have learned to control over time. That you just have to ignore the negative thought, negative comments, because it's gonna come in every now and then. It's not always, I would say.
Yeah.
It's gonna come in every now and then, but I just choose to ignore it. And in the beginning, I would say it was a little difficult. That the first thing that I told you just now as well, that it shouldn't stop you from keep going, because you have to remind yourself that judgment is going to come. That shouldn't stop you from going. And that's what I told myself, that this one single comment shouldn't stop me from continuing my journey, because I'm here for a different purpose. And then one person who I don't even know, who doesn't have a profile photo, who doesn't even come back to your next post, shouldn't actually influence what you want to put in your journey through building your brand on any platform.
Yeah. Okay. Great advice. So I'm going to actually ask you a little selfish motive, of course, because I love hearing about creators, right? And how they plan their content strategy. And you're right, it's about consistency, but consistency does not happen unless you plan. So how do you plan your content strategy? Like, do you easily get up, you have your setup, you just do the videos, or there's some planning around that?
Okay. A lot of people talk about content planning, make sure that you have your, content ready so that you stay consistent, every day, so you don't miss it out. But when I first started, let me be frank with you that I never had any content plan. It was a day-to-day thing that it was on top of my list that I have to do it every single day. And the thing is, I always find inspiration in order to what to write on LinkedIn. Okay. And the inspiration actually comes from the things that I do in a day-to-day basis. I don't go and find outside, but I find from things that I do. So if I don't find inspiration on that day, then I know that I have to do something different. It could be maybe I need to go and read a book. It could be maybe I need to listen to a podcast. It could be maybe I need to, get in, talk to my client and see what kind of problems that they are facing. They just do different things, and your inspiration will come from there. Staying consistent on platform, I think when branding, it comes to you, it's what you do in a day-to-day basis. It's what you need to share with people. And rather than stressing yourself what type of content that I have to create, look into your day-to-day things itself, because that's where your branding is. And it's important also to have a team when it comes to building your content. When you only have one kind of content going out, people can actually get bored as well. Like if you post daily videos on the same inspirational posts every single day, then people can also start getting bored, because you start building, some people who truly follows your content. If you having the same type of content, then they might want to back off of it sometime, because you don't have varieties in content. So having team in terms of the type of content. So I try to create educational content. Usually we see, okay, on Mondays I try to, now that I have changed a little bit, so on Mondays my articles will go out. So Tuesday I'll put in more on inspiration or educational. Then Wednesday I go live. Thursday I repeat by the inspirational education, and last day more for fun things. Okay. So making it different, but it has to be within your own niche, and you're trying to talk to your own people. That should keep being there. So I would say, if you want to stay consistent, one, make it priority, make it as the top of your list. Whether you're going to schedule it or not is up to you. What works for you? For me, sometimes I schedule it, depending if I have a few content that I ready. If on that day that I find that I don't have much motivation, then I just pick one or two. If not, then I like to create content on a day-to-day basis, because I'm more inspired on a day-to-day basis and
Yeah.
the things that I do. And I always have, notes on my phone where I take note every single thing that, okay, I can write about this, then I keep the notes
Yeah.
there. So I can go back and, write the content in the future. And having different kind of team of content will keep you, how to say, inspired at the same time. That means you are also not creating the same type of content again and again, so you don't get bored as well. So yeah, it's totally depend on what works for you, whether you're going to schedule or create content on a daily basis, but make sure that you are creating varieties of content.
Yeah, thank you. That's so insightful. So my last question, last but one question, before I let you go, what's a day in your life look like? And of course, then my last question is your advice to women entrepreneurs out there who are still on the fence, thinking about getting started, holding back. So both of these.
Okay, so what's the day in my life,
Yeah,
right?
like yeah,
Okay, so I'm not a person who wakes up early in the morning, start with meditation and all that. No. So let me be frank with you. I wake up. It could be around 8 or 9 p.m. 8 or 9 a.m. Sorry, 8 or 9 a.m. With my daughter. So she sleeps together with me. So when she wakes up, we wake up together. Then I'll play with her on the bed, and then I feed her and then send her to the daycare, and then I start my day. So it could be maybe I go to the gym, or I will come back and then I will sit on LinkedIn. It's the first thing that I do on LinkedIn. I don't post, but rather I engage with people. So reply to all the comments and then engage on people's posts. Maybe I spend 30 or 40, 45 minutes on that. And then I will prepare the lunch. So I like to, take time to prepare my lunch. So I prepare lunch, I eat, and then I will start the productive work around 1:30. So my productive work starts at 1:30, and then that goes until 6. And then then I spend most of the time with my daughter and my husband, and then that goes until 9 when
okay.
she goes to sleep, and then I take a break until 10. Then I'll work again at 10 o'clock, and that goes until 1 or 2 a.m. And I'm a person who works at night, so
Okay.
my productive works is between 2 to 6 and 10 to 1.
Okay.
And
All right.
yeah, that's the way I work. I'm trying to change it, but I think this is what works for me for now, because I have a daughter. So it's difficult for me to adjust the schedule based
Absolutely.
on what I want.
Yeah, I know. And the early days of motherhood, there are so many changes, right? And it depends. The night that you think you're going to sleep or wake up early is the night that the child has stayed awake all night,
Yeah.
or they've fallen sick. So it's really hard to plan. Your advice before I let you go, a piece of advice to people who are watching this, who are thinking about should I not, holding back.
Okay. Okay. So when it comes to branding, I think every single person need to have brand for themselves. It used to be optional, but now I guess even a housewife need to learn how to build their brand, because it's very simple. Building a brand means is for yourself, for your future. So any kind of success that you're looking at, it could be getting a different kind of job that you want. It could be looking for the opportunities that you want. Can be finding for becoming a speaker. Any kind of opportunity that you want can be built, can come to you by you building a brand. So
Yeah.
if you're looking into a successful life for you in the future, build a brand for yourself. So
Yeah.
people had a very bad impression when we talk about influencer. So building a
Yeah.
brand is not about becoming an influencer.
Correct.
In some ways, it is, you find that it is the same, but an influencer is someone who promotes products, influencing people to buy a certain kind of product. But branding is more about yourself. You're sharing about you. Because why now it's so important why people are so interested to know about us is because of our personal stories. Um,
Yeah.
General information, we can get it from Google. Everyone can read up anything they want. Everything is available out there. But what's people want to learn about experience? Personal experience is a major breakthrough when it comes to branding, and
Yeah.
that will actually set you apart from anyone. So my advice would be never hesitate to put yourself out there. uh, of course, be intentional with what you are sharing and why you are sharing it, but make
Right.
sure you don't stop yourself, knowing that it's going to bring success for you in the future.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so very much. That was my last question. Thank you so much for your time with us. And I look forward to your journey, and I look forward to staying connected and following you along your journey on LinkedIn. So, all the very best to you. And again, thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, Savitra, and thank you to everyone who's listening. You can come and connect with me on LinkedIn. Please, Savitra will give the link. So I really look forward. You can send me a DM and say that you, found me through her podcast or through a video. So really looking forward to speak to you all. Thank you so much, Savitra, once again. It was a joy being here.
Thank you. For all the people watching, I'm going to drop Shalini's LinkedIn with this video. I would recommend connect with her. She has so much value on her page. So if you're not already following her, please follow her. And thank you, Shalini. On that note, I'm going to